The first thing Ethan Vance noticed when he slowly returned to consciousness was that he could not feel his left arm. It did not hurt. It did not tingle. It simply felt missing. The second thing he noticed was gravity. Something was wrong with it. Not too heavy, not too light, just wrong, as if someone had changed the rules of physics by a few percent while he was asleep. The third thing he noticed was the table. He was lying on a smooth metallic platform, and a strange humming vibration echoed through his bones. The sound made his teeth ache, like an invisible pressure lived inside the air itself. Ethan tried to open his eyes. Only one eye opened. The other felt sealed shut, stiff and swollen. His working eye revealed a strange ceiling above him, glowing panels shifting colors in a soft rhythm. Blue, violet, then a strange color he did not even have a name for. The light pulsed gently, almost like it was breathing. This is not the Covenant's medical bay, he thought weakly. Memories returned like broken glass. He remembered the diplomatic mission, the sudden attack, the escape pod launching with a violent jerk. He remembered drifting in space, listening to the emergency beacon beep slower and slower, until it stopped completely. And then only darkness. Now he was here. Wherever here was. Ethan exhaled carefully and tried to move. Something stopped him. Not cuffs, not ropes, something softer. Something like a gentle pressure holding him down. Firm but painless. A force field. He swallowed. Well, that's new. Before he could test it again, the door to the room opened with a soft sigh. Ethan turned his head slightly, only a little, because the invisible field allowed only limited movement. Someone stepped inside. For a moment, Ethan thought he was hallucinating. The figure looked almost human. A woman, young, tall, hair pulled back in a neat style that reminded him of strict medical officers. But her ears gave everything away. Long, pointed, elegant, shaped like delicate architectural curves extending behind her head. Alien. She wore pale blue medical clothing marked with shifting patterns that changed whenever Ethan blinked. The design almost moved on its own. The alien woman checked a floating tablet-like device in her hands. The light reflected softly across her sharp cheekbones. She hadn't noticed he was awake. Then she looked up. She froze. Her dark eyes widened slightly, the most emotion he had seen so far. "You are conscious," she said. Ethan blinked. His translator implant still worked. The voice in his ear gave her words a soft, unfamiliar accent. He cleared his throat. Felt like sandpaper. "Yeah," he croaked. "I guess I'm hard to kill." The alien woman walked toward him with calm, trained movements. "I am Nyril, medical specialist of Research Station Valor 9, she said. "Your escape pod was recovered 72 hours ago. You were the only one inside." Ethan swallowed. Alone. The word hit hard. "You patched me up?" he asked weakly. She scanned him with her device. The tool chirped several times, and her expression grew heavier. "You are stabilized," Nyril said. "But your injuries are severe. Internal bleeding, radiation exposure, multiple fractures. Movement without support could worsen your condition. The restraint field is for your protection." "Great," Ethan muttered. "Premium medical package." She tilted her head slightly, a gesture Ethan guessed meant confusion. "I do not understand the humor," she said. "That's okay," Ethan replied. "Most people don't." She set aside the scanner. "What is your designation?" "Ethan Vance," he said. "Lieutenant. Communications officer. Mostly I fix broken equipment and pretend I know what I'm doing." Nyril did not react to the joke. Instead, she studied him closely, her expression professional but not cold. "Human physiology," she said slowly, "is extremely fragile." Ethan gave a breathless laugh. "Thanks. I always wanted that printed on a birthday card." Her eyes flickered, perhaps with amusement. Very small, very quick. He swallowed again. "Water?" he whispered. Nyril walked to a wall panel, pressed a glowing mark, and returned with a metallic flask. The restraint field loosened slightly, allowing Ethan to raise his head. She held the flask to his lips carefully. The water tasted metallic and strange, but it was the best thing Ethan had ever drunk. "Better?" she asked. Yeah, thanks. Nurse? Nyril, she corrected. And yes, nurse is acceptable. Well, Nurse Nyril, what's the damage? Honestly. She set the flask aside and met his gaze directly. Her dark eyes looked almost black, except for tiny flecks of gold. The pulsing ceiling lights reflected softly in them. You are deteriorating, she said quietly. Your body cannot cope with the radiation you absorbed. Without medical intervention, you may survive only 70 hours. The world went still. 70, Ethan whispered. She nodded. With our standard treatments designed for non-quivering species, I can extend that time. Perhaps 200 hours. So I'm dying, Ethan said. He tried to smile, but it was a tired, crooked thing. Yes, Nyril said honestly. Unless there is an alternative. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Unless what? She hesitated. For the first time, she did not look calm. Her fingers tightened slightly around her device. There is an experimental compound, she said slowly. It is dangerous. It has never been tested on a human. The risks are unknown. Unknown risks. Ethan tried to grin. That's my whole life. Nyril stared at him a moment longer, as if trying to understand how a dying human could still make jokes. I will review your case, she finally said. Try to rest. She turned toward the door. Wait, Ethan said softly. I don't want to die here. Her steps stopped for half a second. Then she left. The room became silent again except for the steady hum of the platform. Ethan closed his one working eye and breathed slowly, trying not to panic. 70 hours. Maybe 200. But something in Nyril's voice made Ethan believe the truth. His survival depended on her. On whether she would risk everything for a stranger from a fragile species. He hoped she would, because dying alone on an alien station was the one joke he could not laugh at. The night cycle on Valor 9 felt strange to Ethan Vance. The lights dimmed to a cool blue, the hum of the machines softened, and the whole place felt like it was holding its breath. He lay on the medical platform, staring at the ceiling as it slowly shifted colors like a calm ocean. Sleep refused to come. How could it? He had been told he had less than 100 hours to live. Maybe 200 if luck decided to be generous for once. Ethan closed his working eye and tried to focus on breathing. In, out. Slow. Calm. But every few seconds, his mind threw another reminder at him. You're dying. You're alone. You're on an alien station with no idea what happens next. He exhaled shakily. Perfect. The door opened with the same soft sigh, and his eyes snapped open again. Someone stepped in, not Nyril, but another alien. He was tall, even taller than Nyril, with a lean frame and restless energy. His dark hair had a streak of silver that looked natural, not old. He wore a long scientific coat marked with glowing lines. The newcomer smiled when he saw Ethan awake. Good. Consciousness means progress, he said in a warm, curious voice. Ethan blinked. And you are? I am Kale Vera, lead research specialist. You may think of me as the scientist who pokes things to see what happens. That's comforting. Kale chuckled. You humans are amusing. Even while dying, you make jokes. I call it emotional survival, Ethan said. Kale approached the side of the platform and tapped a holographic display. Lines of alien text glowed above Ethan. Your cellular breakdown is concerning, Kale said. Radiation of this type is not gentle, even for us. For a human, he hesitated. Your species responds with chaos. Chaos, Ethan repeated. Yes, human biology is very unpredictable. Most species we know heal in a clean, organized pattern. Kale waved his hand. You humans? You heal in strange ways. Slow, messy, stubborn. Like your bodies refuse to follow instructions. Ethan smirked. Sounds about right. Kale studied him for a moment, a gentle curiosity in his eyes. You are surprisingly calm, he said. Most beings in your situation would panic. Oh, I'm panicking, Ethan said. Just quietly, on the inside, where no one can see. Kale smiled again, wider this time. Before he could speak further, the door opened a second time. Nyril entered, her expression tight, her steps precise. She looked surprised to see Kale already there. "You're early," she said. Kale shrugged. "I was curious." Nyril took a position on the opposite side of the platform. Her movements were calmer than Kale's, more controlled. Ethan sensed that she chose every word with care. "How do you feel?" she asked him. "Like my body is melting from the inside," Ethan said honestly. "But other than that, I'm great." Kale raised an eyebrow. Nyril exhaled through her nose, not quite a sigh. "Your vitals are dropping slowly," she said. "We must adjust the stabilizers." Kale leaned toward her. "Or we could discuss the alternative." Nyril's jaw tightened. "This is not the time." Ethan blinked. "Alternative? What alternative?" The two aliens exchanged a look. A silent conversation passed between them. Finally, Kale turned toward Ethan. "There is an experimental compound," he said. "Synthesis X. It accelerates healing, repairs cellular damage, and it is dangerous," Nyril interrupted sharply. "It has never been tested on humans." Ethan looked between them. "I'm hearing a but coming." Kale tapped a glowing diagram in the air. It showed cells breaking down, then rebuilding stronger. "It might save your life," Kale said softly. Nyril folded her arms. "Or it may rewrite your biology in unpredictable ways. It is not made for humans." Ethan's heart thudded. "So, it could heal me? Or kill me?" "Yes," Nyril said. Kale nodded. "Possibly both. Possibly neither. We cannot predict it." Nyril glared at him. "Stop making it sound reasonable." "I'm presenting information," Kale replied calmly. Ethan shifted slightly under the restraint field. "Why are you even considering this?" Nyril hesitated. Kale answered first. "Our command sees you as property," he said gently. "A source of intelligence. Not a person. They only want you alive long enough to question you." Nyril spoke next, her voice lower. "Standard treatment will slow your decline but not stop it. You may live 200 hours. No more." Ethan stared at the ceiling again. "So a little over 8 days," he murmured. Nyril nodded once. Kale stepped closer. "Ethan, we want to help. But we cannot force something this dangerous on you." Ethan swallowed. He looked at Nyril. She wasn't cold anymore. She looked conflicted, like someone standing on the edge of a decision she wasn't allowed to make. "You said my body is breaking down," Ethan said quietly. "You said I don't have long." Her gaze softened by a fraction. "Yes." "Then," Ethan whispered, "what do I have to lose?" The room fell silent. Kale smiled sadly. "He is practical. I like him." Nyril looked away, her hands tightening around the medical tablet. "It is not that simple," she said. "If something goes wrong, command will blame me. They will remove me from duty, or worse." Ethan blinked slowly. "You'd get punished for trying to save my life?" "Yes." Kale sighed. "Our station has many rules. Compassion is not always approved." Ethan stared at her for a long moment. "Why would you risk it then?" he asked softly. Nyril didn't answer. Kale's expression shifted, understanding something she would not say aloud. After a moment, he stepped back and spoke gently, as if giving her permission she wouldn't give herself. "Nyril, he deserves a chance." She closed her eyes briefly, 1 second, no more. When she opened them again, something had changed. Determination, fear, hope, all mixed together. "Rest, Ethan," she said quietly. "We will continue this discussion later." She turned and left the room quickly, almost too quickly. Kale stayed a moment longer. "You know," he said softly, "my people believe that sometimes the universe places the right person in the wrong place, because that place needs them." Ethan frowned. "What does that mean?" Kale smiled. "It means you are not as alone as you think." Then he left, the door closing behind him with a soft hiss. Ethan lay on the table, staring at the dim ceiling. His fear was still there, but now something else joined it. Hope, and questions. Would Nyril break the rules to save him? Would Synthesis X heal him? Or turn him into something else? And why did Nyril care so much? He didn't know. But he felt, for the first time since waking up, he might actually survive this. The next morning cycle began with warm white lights blooming slowly across the ceiling. Ethan woke to a soft vibration under the medical platform as the station shifted power. His body still hurt. Deep, dull, constant. But the pain was familiar now. Almost expected. He sat up slowly, ignoring the stiffness in his chest. Nyril hadn't returned since last night. Kale hadn't visited either. The silence around him felt heavy, like the room itself knew something was wrong. He was still thinking about their words, the experimental compound Synthesis X, when the door opened. This time it wasn't Nyril or Kale. A new alien entered. She was tall, armored, and disciplined in every movement. Her armor shone dark blue, marked with sharp white stripes. Her eyes were colder than any Ethan had seen so far. She looked like a soldier. "Human," she said in a firm voice. "I am Commander Salas Varick, Station Administrator." Ethan straightened instinctively. There was something about her presence that demanded attention, like gravity pulling everything toward her. She walked around him slowly, studying him like he was a puzzle. "You were found drifting in a damaged pod," she said. "Alone. Injured. Your world destroyed." She paused. "And yet you lived." Ethan clenched his jaw. "Is that a problem?" "It is an anomaly," she corrected. "One that requires answers." She stopped in front of him, hands behind her back. "You will be questioned soon," she said. "Not today, but soon." Ethan felt a nervous chill run through him. "I already told your people everything I remember." Salas tilted her head slightly. "Humans are known for incomplete truth." He exhaled slowly. "Maybe we just talk too much." For a moment she didn't react. Then her eyes narrowed a fraction. "I do not appreciate humor during official evaluation." "Great," Ethan thought. "She's the fun one." Salas leaned closer. "You will cooperate. Your survival is temporary. Do not attempt to negotiate." Before he could answer, a voice came from the doorway. "That is unnecessary." Nyril stepped inside, calm but tense. Ethan saw it in the way she held her shoulders. Slightly lifted, defensive. Salas turned toward her. "Nyril Vren, you were not called. I am assigned to the human's care." Salas studied her for a long moment. "Then complete your task and leave." Nyril stepped to Ethan's side, checking the holograph. Her hands moved smoothly, but Ethan noticed the pressure in her jaw. Salas observed them both like a hawk. "Human," she said. "You will be stable enough for questioning in 20 hours. Prepare yourself." Then she left as sharply as she arrived. The moment the door closed, Nyril released a long, quiet breath she had been holding. "That woman terrifies me," Ethan whispered. Nyril responded with the smallest nod. "She terrifies most of us." Ethan watched her adjust the stabilizer settings. Finally, he spoke. "You said we'd talk about the experiment." Nyril froze for a heartbeat. Then she set the holograph aside and looked directly at him. "Ethan, you must understand. Using Synthesis X is forbidden on humans. Command believes your species is too unpredictable. They fear you might become unstable." "Unstable how?" Ethan asked. "Your biology might react violently, or adapt in a way we cannot control." Ethan swallowed hard. "Sounds like a gamble." "It is more than that," Nyril said quietly. "It is treason." He blinked. "Helping me is treason?" Her voice grew even softer. "Yes." Ethan stared at her. She looked away, unable to meet his eyes. "Why are you even considering it?" he asked. She didn't answer at first. She moved around the room, checking instruments, adjusting things that didn't seem to need adjusting. Finally, she returned to him. "When I joined the medical division," she said slowly, "I wanted to heal lives, not watch them fade." Her fingers tightened around the edge of the table. "Our rules are strict. We treat those we are ordered to treat. We let die those we are ordered to ignore." Her voice wavered just once. You are the first human I've ever seen alive. And you have fought so hard just to wake up. Just to breathe. I can't stand by and watch your light go out when there is a chance, however small, to save you. Ethan felt the room shrink around them. Nyril, I'm nobody special. She met his eyes again, her expression suddenly fierce. You are alive. That is enough. He didn't know how to respond. Before either of them could speak again, the door opened once more. Cale entered quickly, closing it behind him. His expression was tight, serious in a way Ethan had never seen before. We don't have much time, Cale said. Command wants the human moved to interrogation chambers soon. If we're going to act, it must be now. Nyril looked startled. Already? They said 20 hours. Cale shook his head. Solace accelerated the schedule. She doesn't trust him. They want to know if he's useful before his condition worsens. Ethan felt heat rise in his chest. Fear mixed with anger. So I'm running out of time, he said. Cale nodded. Yes. He approached Ethan, lowering his voice. If we administer Synthesis X now, the changes will begin quickly. Command will notice. If they catch us, we will be removed from duty. Possibly imprisoned. Ethan looked between them. Two aliens ready to risk everything for someone they barely knew. And if we don't use it? He asked. Nyril's voice cracked softly. You will not survive long enough for questioning. Silence swallowed the room. Cale placed a small metallic capsule on the table. It glowed softly, a strange golden light swirling inside. This is Synthesis X, he said. One injection. No turning back. Nyril stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan, the choice must be yours. He stared at the capsule, at the glowing liquid that could save him, or destroy him, or turn him into something he couldn't imagine. His heart pounded. Fear wrapped around him like cold wind. But beneath the fear, something stronger rose. He didn't want to die. Not here. Not now. And he didn't want to leave the people who were trying so hard to help him. Ethan lifted his head. I want to try it. Nyril inhaled sharply. Cale nodded slowly. Then we begin immediately, Cale said. Nyril reached for the injection device, but her hand trembled. He placed his hand over hers. It's okay, Ethan whispered. I trust you. For a moment, she simply stared at him, caught between fear and something gentler. Then Nyril activated the injector. The golden liquid began to glow brighter. Cale moved to the door. I'll guard the entrance. If anyone comes, I'll delay them. Nyril raised the device. Ethan exhaled. Then the injector touched his skin. And everything went white. White. That was the first thing Ethan felt. Not light. Not heat. Just white. A strange brightness that filled every corner of his mind like someone had erased the world around him. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Then sound rushed back. A sharp ringing. A distant alarm. A voice calling his name. Ethan. Ethan. Stay with me. Nyril. Her voice pulled him out of the white haze. His vision blurred, then sharpened, swimming with gold outlines. His chest felt like someone had lit a fire inside it. Hot. Burning, spreading. He gasped. The fire grew stronger. His body temperature is rising too fast. Nyril shouted. Through the haze, Ethan saw her moving quickly, pulling open drawers, activating cooling fields, adjusting the stabilizer pods around the platform. Her hands shook, but her voice stayed steady. Ethan, listen to me, she said urgently. The compound is integrating. You must focus. Breathe slowly. He tried, but every breath burned. His bones vibrated as if tiny sparks were racing through them. His muscles tightened and loosened in rapid waves. His skin prickled, glowing faint gold under the lights. He felt like he was being torn apart and rebuilt at the same time. What's happening? He managed to choke out. Nyril didn't look away from the readings floating above him. Your body is reacting strongly, she said. More than expected. Ethan groaned. That's comforting. Cale's voice echoed from the door. We have incoming. Someone is on the move. Nyril's head snapped up. Commander Solace? Not yet, Kale said. But guards are patrolling nearby. They're suspicious. Ethan squeezed his eyes shut as another wave of heat rolled through him. The platform beneath him felt like it was spinning. I can't breathe, he gasped. Nyril placed her hand gently on his arm. Her touch was cool, cooler than anything he had felt in hours. It grounded him, pulled him back from the edge. Focus on my voice, she said. Follow it. Don't fight the changes. Let them happen. He tried again. Slow. The fire didn't stop, but it shifted, moving from pain to pressure. Energy built inside him, pulsing like a second heartbeat. His vision cleared enough to see Nyril's worried eyes. She whispered softly, more to herself than to him. Please work. Please don't take him from me. Ethan wasn't sure if she knew he heard that. Another surge hit him, strong enough to arch his back off the table. The golden light under his skin brightened. The air around him shimmered with tiny particles. Kale rushed to the platform. Nyril, the compound is activating at a higher level than our simulations predicted. I know, she shot back. If this continues, Command will detect the energy spike. I know, Ethan hissed as electricity crackled along his arms. His heartbeat pounded in his ears like a war drum. His fingers curled so tightly his knuckles burned. Nyril. She grabbed his hand. I'm here, she said, her voice gentle again. Stay with me. Another wave spread from his chest to his limbs, then up his neck. His left eye flashed white, then gold, then settled back to normal, though he sensed something had changed. Kale studied the readings. His cells are restructuring. This isn't rejection. It's adaptation. Adaptation, Ethan managed to whisper. Kale nodded. You're surviving this. Somehow. He wanted to laugh. Or cry. Maybe both. Then the door panel flashed red. 3 sharp tones echoed through the room. Nyril's body froze. Kale's eyes widened. That's an override signal, Kale whispered. Someone is trying to enter. Nyril stepped away from the platform, panic flickering in her eyes. We need to hide the equipment. If they see the compound. The door hissed open. Ethan's heart dropped. Commander Solace Varick stood in the doorway, 2 armed guards behind her. Her gaze went straight to Ethan. Glowing faintly, breathing heavy, golden sparks flickering along his skin. Her expression hardened. What? She said slowly, dangerously. Have you done? Nyril stepped in front of Ethan before she could stop herself. He is stabilizing, she said quickly. I was adjusting the medical field. Do not lie to me, Solace said, her voice cold steel. His readings are off the charts. No human physiology behaves this way. Kale stepped forward, trying to look calm. Commander, we were conducting a routine evaluation. You injected him with something forbidden. Silence crashed into the room. Nyril didn't move. Kale didn't breathe. Ethan's burning chest tightened with dread. Solace took a single step inside. Her eyes were sharp, calculating. Which of you did it? She asked. Ethan tried to speak, but his throat wouldn't cooperate. Another pulse moved through him, stronger this time. He gritted his teeth. Solace noticed instantly. He is mutating, she said. That compound synthesis X. Only that would cause such a reaction. Nyril swallowed. A tiny, almost invisible movement. Solace caught it. You, Solace said. You administered it. I did not, Nyril began. But Solace raised her hand sharply. Enough. Her guards stepped forward. Weapons powered on with a deep hum. Stand down, Solace said. You are under arrest for unauthorized biological experimentation and treason against the Valor Alliance. Nyril stood frozen, staring at Ethan. Not the guards. Not Solace. Just him. Kale stepped between her and the guards. Commander, wait. This human is valuable. His survival could help us understand. Solace's expression didn't change. You will both be detained. The human will be moved to containment. The experiment ends now. Containment. The word echoed in Ethan's mind like a threat. Another surge exploded through him, stronger than before. He grabbed the sides of the table as golden energy crackled across his skin. Nyril shouted, "Ethan, don't move. Your body isn't stable." But he couldn't stop it. His heartbeat thundered. His muscles tightened. His vision sharpened until he could see every detail in the room. The guards' fingers on their triggers, the pulse of light in the weapons, the slight tremble in Nyril's hands. Then, something changed inside him. The burning faded. The shaking stopped. He felt strong. Stronger than he ever had before. He inhaled, and the air itself seemed to vibrate with energy. Solace took a step back, eyes narrowing. What is he becoming? Ethan sat up slowly, golden light pulsing beneath his skin like living fire. For the first time since he arrived, he wasn't helpless. He wasn't dying. He was becoming something new. He glanced at Nyril, her fear, her hope, her silent plea. He met her eyes. "I'm not going to containment." The room held its breath. For a long second, no one in the room moved. Ethan sat upright on the medical platform, golden light pulsing slowly under his skin. The air around him shimmered with a faint energy, like dust catching sunlight. Commander Solace stared at him with a mix of shock and calculation. Her guards gripped their weapons tighter. Nyril stood frozen. Cale held his breath. Ethan's own pulse felt steady. Too steady for someone who was a dying patient moments ago. The fire inside him was now a controlled heat, like the energy had found order. He was stronger, faster, clearer, and he wasn't going to containment. Solace stepped forward slowly. "Human," she said, not hiding the distrust in her voice. "You will comply. You are unstable. You are a threat." Ethan slid off the platform, feet touching the floor with surprising softness. He didn't wobble, didn't sway. His balance felt perfect, almost unnatural. "I'm not your prisoner," he said calmly. One of the guards raised his weapon. "Commander, he's charging energy." Before Ethan could react, a golden spark flickered across his right arm, and the light moved. It spread down to his hand like electricity seeking ground. The guard stepped back in panic. "Stand down," Solace barked. But the guard's fear got ahead of her. He fired. A sharp bolt of blue energy shot across the room. And Ethan moved without thinking. He raised his hand. The bolt hit his palm. Instead of burning through him, it exploded into a burst of harmless gold particles. Everyone froze. Cale whispered, "That's not possible." Nyril took half a step forward. "Ethan?" But Ethan himself looked at his glowing hand in shock. "I didn't mean to do that," he said quietly. "Enough," Solace snapped. Her voice was tight with anger and fear. "Guards, activate containment fields." The two guards spread apart, tapping controls on their suits. Blue arcs of energy formed a net-like barrier around Ethan. He backed away instinctively as the crackling field closed in. Nyril shouted, "Stop! His body is still changing. If you trap him." The field snapped shut. Ethan gasped. A sudden force pressed against him from all sides, like invisible hands squeezing him inward. The golden energy around his skin flared violently in response. Cale grabbed Nyril's shoulder. "If the field compresses his energy, he could destabilize." Solace didn't blink. "That is the point." The pressure increased. Ethan fell to one knee, gritting his teeth. The containment field tightened more, reacting to the golden energy radiating from him. His vision blurred. His muscles trembled. He forced out words through clenched teeth. "Nyril, run." "No," she whispered, stepping toward him. The guards raised their weapons. "Step back, medic." She ignored them. Cale cursed under his breath. "We need to break the field." He rushed to the control panel, fingers flying over hard light buttons. Solace drew her sidearm. "Touch that panel and I will shoot." Cale froze. Ethan felt the field squeezing harder, compressing the energy in his very bones. His skin cracked with light. He wasn't sure how much longer he could hold on. But then Nyril moved. She stepped right between him and the guards, placing herself in the line of fire. "Lower the field," she said, voice shaking but steady. "He's not attacking." You are hurting him. Solace didn't flinch. Step away, Nyril. Commander, please, he is not a weapon. He is becoming one. Ethan's vision blurred again, but he could still see Nyril standing there, protecting him despite knowing how dangerous he looked. Something warm swelled inside him. Then the field tightened to the breaking point. A cry tore from Ethan's throat as the golden energy burst outward, and the containment field shattered. A shockwave rippled across the room, blowing the guards off their feet. Solace staggered but stayed upright, shielding her face from the blast. Nyril stumbled backwards, but Ethan caught her before she fell. The energy faded from his body, settling into a warm glow beneath his skin. He whispered, "Are you okay?" Nyril looked up at him, breathless. You broke a containment field." Kale laughed nervously. "No human should be able to do that. No one should be able to do that." Solace recovered quickly, fury rising in her eyes. "Enough! Guards! Restrain them!" The guards pushed themselves up, shakily lifting their weapons again. Ethan stepped in front of Nyril and Kale. "No one is hurting them." But Solace wasn't backing down. She tapped her wrist comm. "All units, emergency lockdown of medical wing. Intruder is hostile. Lethal force is authorized." Ethan felt cold. They were going to kill him, kill Nyril, kill Kale. Not happening. Kale whispered urgently, "We need to leave now. The lockdown will seal the doors in 30 seconds. Nyril looked toward the exit. "There is a maintenance route behind the storage chamber. It leads to the lower corridors." Ethan pulled her gently toward it. "Show me." Solace shouted, "Stop them!" The guards fired again, 2 bright energy bolts racing toward Ethan. Instinct took over. Golden energy surged across his skin. He swung his arm, and a shimmering shield of light formed in front of him. The bolts hit it, and dissolved like sparks in water. Kale stared wide-eyed. "You're forming constructs. This is incredible." "Later," Ethan shouted. "Move." They sprinted toward the back of the room. Nyril slapped her hand on a hidden panel. The wall opened, revealing a narrow maintenance hallway filled with pipes and dim purple lights. Ethan ushered them inside. Solace took aim at him. "You cannot escape this station, human," she said coldly. "You are a threat to every life here." Ethan met her eyes, no fear, only resolve. "I didn't choose this," he said, "but I'm choosing what I do with it." The hidden door slid shut, sealing them inside the narrow corridor. For the first time since waking up on Valor 9, Ethan was free, but the station around them echoed with alarms. And Commander Solace would not stop until he was contained or dead. The maintenance corridor was darker than Ethan expected. Dim purple lights flickered along the walls, and the air smelled like coolant and old metal. Pipes ran overhead, humming with low vibrations. It was narrow, barely enough space for the 3 of them to move quickly. Nyril sealed the hidden door behind them, her fingers shaking slightly. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You okay?" She nodded, though her eyes showed fear. "Yes, but the commander will not stop now. She thinks you are dangerous. She will alert the entire station." Kale looked behind them nervously. "We need to keep moving. The security drones will be activated any second." Ethan asked, "Where does this tunnel lead?" Nyril pointed forward. "If we follow this route, we reach the lower engineering decks. From there, we can reach a hangar bay or a shuttle port." "But—" She hesitated. "But what?" Ethan asked. "There will be patrols and scanners. If they detect your new energy signature, they will attack on sight." Ethan glanced at his hand. The soft gold glow under his skin hadn't faded completely. "I'll try to keep it down." Kale snorted quietly. "It's not a lamp you can switch off, Ethan." Nyril added, "Just stay calm. Stress makes it stronger." "Great," Ethan muttered. "So basically, don't panic while we run from people trying to kill us." They moved fast but quiet. The corridor sloped downward, its metal floor vibrating beneath their feet. Ethan could feel the station breathing around him. Every hum, every pulse of power, every sharp change in air pressure. His senses were sharper. His footsteps were lighter. Even in the dark, he could see better than before. He was changing. And not just a little. First patrol. They reached a junction where the maintenance corridor opened into a wider hallway lined with glowing blue data panels. A security gate blocked the path, humming faintly with power. Kale sighed. Locked. Of course it's locked. Nyril stepped forward, activated a small panel, and began entering a manual override code. Ethan stood guard. Footsteps echoed from the far end of the hall. 3 armored patrol soldiers appeared, their visors glowing red as they scanned the area. Movement detected, one said. Power signatures elevated. Possible intruder. Kale whispered. They'll reach us before Nyril finishes. Ethan felt the golden warmth in his chest stir, like it wanted to act. He took a slow breath. Stay calm. Stay in control. The soldiers marched closer, weapons raised. Their footsteps were heavy, confident. These weren't the weak guards from the medical wing. Nyril whispered urgently, Just another minute. We don't have a minute, Kale hissed. The soldiers reached firing range. Identify yourselves, a soldier commanded. Lie down on the ground now. Ethan stepped forward. Don't shoot. Golden cracks of light formed across his arms. Kale whispered, Oh no! One soldier lifted his weapon. He is the anomaly. Fire! They shot. Blue bolts of energy streaked down the hall toward Ethan. His body acted before his mind did. A golden shield flashed into existence in front of him, forming out of nothing. A curved barrier of shifting light. The bolts hit it and dissolved like rain on fire. Kale's jaw dropped. That's a projected energy barrier. Nyril didn't look up from the panel. Focus, Kale. The soldiers fired again and again, but Ethan advanced, each blast breaking into harmless particles before reaching him. In 3 steps, he reached them. He didn't want to hurt them. He didn't even want to touch them. But the energy within him moved like it had its own instinct. He brushed his hand across the air. A wave of gold rippled outward. It slammed into all 3 soldiers like a soft shockwave, not breaking bones, not tearing armor, just knocking them down hard enough to keep them there. They lay stunned but alive. Ethan stared at his glowing hands in disbelief. What am I becoming? Nyril finally gasped. Gate open! Move! They rushed through the security gate, and it shut behind them. The lower levels. The lower decks were colder, filled with twisting pipes and deep mechanical sounds. Heavy cables hung overhead like metal vines. The lighting was dim, creating long shadows across the metal floor. Kale led the way now. We're close to the engineering core. From there we can reach a transport bay. Ethan asked, Transport bay means small shuttles, right? Yes, Nyril said. Unarmed utility shuttles, but enough to leave the station. Ethan nodded. Good, let's get one. But just as they were approaching a crossing of 3 large corridors, lights above them turned from white to flashing red. A robotic voice echoed. Security alert. Anomalous energy signature detected. Deploying drones. Kale turned pale. Drones, plural. The rumbling mechanical sound answered him. 3 hovering drone spheres emerged from the shadows, rotating rapidly with glowing blue sensors. Each had 3 weapon arms that clicked into firing mode. Nyril whispered, These are not like soldiers. They won't hesitate. Ethan felt the golden power rise again. Hotter, brighter. But he didn't know if he could fight all 3. One drone fired a laser sweep. Ethan grabbed Nyril and Kale and rolled behind a large coolant pipe just in time. The laser carved a glowing line across the floor where they had been. Kale shouted, We have to move. They'll flank us. Another drone fired micromissiles. Ethan reacted fast. He raised both arms, and a dome of golden light formed around them. The missiles struck it, booming loudly, but the shield held. Barely. Each hit pushed Ethan backward, his feet scraping the floor. His breathing grew heavy. Sweat rolled down his forehead. Nyril touched his shoulder. Ethan, you're overusing it. You need to conserve energy. Not easy, he grunted. When everything in this station wants me dead. The drones recalibrated, preparing another volley. Kale looked around desperately. There. He pointed to a high ventilation shaft. If we can reach that shaft, it leads to the storage docks above the hangar. Ethan lowered the shield. Go. But what about you? Nyril asked. I'll hold them off. No. She grabbed his arm. You're still unstable. I'll manage. A drone fired again. Without thinking, Ethan unleashed another blast of golden force. This one stronger, more focused. It struck the drone directly, sending it crashing into the wall, sparks flying. Kale dragged Nyril toward the shaft ladder. We need to give him time. The second drone swept around, firing rapidly. Ethan sprinted toward it, moving faster than humanly possible. He jumped, caught the drone by the side, and slammed it into the ground. It sparked violently and went silent. Only one drone stayed hovering, more cautious now. Nyril screamed from the ladder. Ethan, come on! He turned and ran toward her. The remaining drone fired a charged bolt straight at his back. But something happened. The golden glow surged explosively around him, like instinctive armor, and the bolt ricocheted away. Ethan climbed the ladder 3 rungs at a time, joining Nyril and Kale inside the narrow ventilation shaft. The drone fired again, but the shaft door slid shut, blocking the blast. Breathing hard, Ethan crawled forward with them into the darkness. They were safe for now. But Ethan could feel something deep inside him shifting again. The power was growing, and he wasn't sure how long he could keep it under control. The ventilation shaft was narrow and cold. Metal scraped against Ethan's hands as he crawled forward. Behind him, Nyril and Kale moved carefully, their breaths loud in the dark tunnel. We're close, Kale whispered. This passage leads to the storage deck above the hangar. Ethan tried to nod, but the space was too tight. Sweat ran down his face. His heart pounded fast, too fast. Even in this cramped space, the golden warmth inside him pulsed with every heartbeat, stronger than before. Nyril touched his ankle. Ethan, are you feeling okay? No, he whispered. Something's changing again. She didn't answer, but he could hear the fear in her breathing. They crawled for several minutes before reaching a grated panel. Kale twisted it open and peeked down. Below them was a large storage room full of cargo crates, supply boxes, and mechanical parts. It was quiet. Kale nodded. All clear. One by one, they dropped down silently. Ethan landed last, and the moment his boots hit the floor, he felt a vibration. Not from the room, but inside him. The energy in his chest burned hotter, like a small sun trapped inside. His vision sharpened again. He could hear distant footsteps, far beyond normal range. He could sense power lines in the walls, and he knew this was only the beginning. The hangar bay. They reached a heavy metal door that led into the hangar above the shuttle bay. Nyril placed her hand on the scanner, hoping for a manual override. It might take a moment, she whispered. Ethan leaned against the wall, trying to stay calm. Every breath made his chest glow slightly brighter. Kale watched him nervously. You look like you're about to explode. Thanks, Ethan muttered. Very comforting. Nyril looked up suddenly. Someone's coming. Heavy footsteps marched closer, the sound of boots and mechanical armor. Ethan stepped forward. I'll hold them off. Get the door open. No. Nyril grabbed his arm. You don't need to fight everyone. Her eyes were wide, full of worry. Ethan, you're pushing yourself too hard. You'll burn out. He forced a smile. I thought I'm getting stronger. She shook her head. Yes, but your body isn't used to this power. Too much too fast can destroy you. Before Ethan could answer, the door behind them slid open violently. Several soldiers in full armor stormed into the storage room, weapons raised. Target acquired, one shouted. Capture alive if possible. Kale yelled, Nyril, now. She slammed her hand on the panel. Almost. The soldiers opened fire. Blue bolts streaked toward Ethan. He didn't even think. The golden shield formed instantly around him and his friends. Bolts hit the barrier, sparkling and sizzling. Ethan gritted his teeth. Nyril, hurry! It's almost done. 3 soldiers tried to flank them. Ethan turned, pushing his hand outward. A soft pulse of golden energy swept through the room. The soldiers were thrown backward, not dead, but unable to stand. Even Nyril stared. Ethan, your control is improving. He couldn't answer, because the pain hit him next, sharp, deep, and burning. He fell to one knee, the golden glow inside him flickering wildly. Ethan, Nyril held him. Stop using the power. He forced a breath. Can't. Stop it. It's too much. Kale yelled. The door. It's open. Nyril pulled Ethan to his feet, supporting him as they rushed through the doorway into the hangar. The door slammed shut behind them. The commander arrives. The hangar was huge. Small utility shuttles lined the far wall, their engines cold and quiet. Fuel pods glowed with faint blue light. The floor was marked with landing stripes and cargo lanes. Kale ran ahead toward the nearest shuttle. This one. It's small but fast. Ethan staggered, still clutching his chest. The glow was hotter now, almost painful. Nyril guided him. Just hold on a little more, Ethan. We're almost free. But then, a metallic shout echoed across the hangar. Stop! They all turned. Commander Verith stood at the entrance, her dark armor shining under the hangar lights. Her eyes were cold, almost cruel. Dozens of heavily armed soldiers surrounded her. Nyril whispered, horrified. No! She mobilized an entire squad. Verith walked forward slowly. You can't escape, human, she said. The energy inside you is unstable. If left unchecked, you will destroy yourself, and possibly this entire station. Ethan forced himself upright. I didn't ask for this power. No, the commander agreed. But now you have it, and that makes you a threat. She pointed at Nyril and Kale. And you two are traitors. Kale whispered, terrified. We are so dead. Nyril stood in front of Ethan bravely. Commander, please, he's not dangerous. He saved us. He saved me. Enough. Verith raised her arm. Take them. Soldiers stepped forward, and Ethan felt something snap inside him. His fear turned into something else. Strength. Determination. Heat. The golden light exploded from his body, rising like flames but without burning. Everyone in the hangar froze. Even the commander. Ethan's voice echoed, layered with power. I'm not your enemy, but I won't let you hurt my friends. Verith took a step back, shocked. You shouldn't be able to channel that much energy. Ethan raised his hands slowly. A massive wave of golden light swept outward. Not violent, not deadly. It was like a giant shockwave of pure force. Soldiers were thrown backward across the floor. Weapons flew out of their hands. The commander's armor sparked as she fell to one knee. Kale whispered, Holy stars! Nyril stared at Ethan with wide eyes. Ethan, you're controlling it. He stood tall now, strong, steady. The light dimmed just enough for him to look normal again. Let's go, he said softly. Nyril helped him into the shuttle. Kale jumped into the pilot seat and powered the engines. The hangar deck alarms blared loudly. Unauthorized launch detected. Ethan watched as the commander struggled to stand. But she didn't reach them in time. The shuttle lifted off. Kale pulled the lever, and with a blast of blue fire, the shuttle shot out of the hangar and into open space. The new human. Inside the quiet hum of the shuttle, Ethan finally relaxed. The golden glow faded, but didn't disappear. Nyril placed a hand on his arm. Ethan, you're not just human now. Kale added softly, you're something new, something powerful. Ethan stared out the window at the stars. He didn't know what he would become. He didn't know if the power would grow or fade. But one thing he knew for sure, he wasn't alone anymore. And whatever came next, he would face it with them. The beginning, not the end.